Well, thank you. Wow, what a special evening. Um, just so honourable to be amongst you guys, and to hope that every one of us as artists and political change spokespeople can start to make it happen, because it looks a bit ominous at the moment, doesn't it? I visit maybe up to 500 schools a year educating or performing for kids, and I was pulling out this map here, and thankfully most schools have seen that map nowadays, but it's hard to impress at just how many diversities of Aboriginal cultures and Islander cultures that we have here. I guess the fundamental thing I try to push to the kids is that before this place became white, it was very coloured. I'm going to take a little journey, and it's a bit about some of my most poignant works that many of you might be familiar with, and these are the works that have caused both media interest and also loss of relationships with gallery directors. This one here is a collaboration I formed earlier this year for the Sculpture by the Sea, and if you visited, you would have seen those bins. And I collaborated with the famous Will Coles. You residents of this area would know Will Coles' work, and I entered this year wanting to stop talking about myself so much, but rather collaborating and creating and combining the think tank, And so this was a series called Really Bins. Each of those bins there, which are moulded from an actual wheelie bin that Will Coles painstakingly produced. Each of them has an insert, which is the words for each of the 9 federal public holidays that we have here. So the message obviously was, what do we do on our days of national fixtures? We trash the joint and get pissed. So, and the bins overflow with bottles and whatever. So that's a pretty proud piece to have in the Sculpture by the Sea for the first year. So you familiar with this one by now? It was a response to Julie Pryor's mural, I Have a Dream, and it was Jeff Faraday, a local historian and writer, who came up with the idea, and he'd originally coined that little phrase there, "We have the dreaming." So obviously the message behind the mural that I ultimately created there is that Dr. King, with all due respect, had some very profound words, but coming from a predominantly Christian background, I look at the discussion of the permission to put him as a martyr, so to speak, on the Aboriginal flag, and also the fact that it hurts more so every day for us to realise that Christianity being the dominant religion that has overtaken this landscape and built on top of every dreaming site on every piece of land. And so we have the dreaming long way before Christianity, and it's an acknowledgement to whale dreaming, which is the Sydney Harbour dreaming. Mm-hmm. It's a bit hard to make out, but if you ever visit the Marrickville markets, you see this milk crate installation there, which became quite prominent in the neighbourhood and got several requests for exhibiting other places as well. It actually began its life at Blacktown Arts Centre for an exhibition there, and then I rearranged the crates for an exhibition at Damien Minton Gallery, acknowledging Eddie Mabo and the Mabo case, of which I changed the configuration of the green milk crates to say words. It was also acknowledging the Redfern Park speech by Paul Keating. As per the sorry speech, we realised that it's very clever legal banter that is designed to just cover the backs of the politicians but make the elders cry. So it's all words. The poignant thing about this one is that in the centre of each milk crate, you'll see the words something like this: any wrongful misuse or withholding of this milk crate can lead to prosecution by the owner, dairy farmers. I looked at what dairy farmers originally did to my people of the Macleay River up in mid-North Coast, New South Wales. They were massacred. They were the first people massacred. So I can't claim connection to a dreaming site of where my grandmother comes from, because the fact that dairy farmers stole our land and put the pastoral operations there. So I stole the milk crates, made that one. This one caused the controversy between a former relationship with my first gallery in Melbourne, and at this particular time they didn't want to show this piece. If you can't quite see that one, there's 3 Aboriginal boys from the desert there, kind of based on Hermannsburg, and they're the closest boys kneeling there about to perform some lewd act on the Anglican priest who has a 3-headed penis. And it was coined by a Melbourne arts writer, Paul May at the time, as the first ever visual depiction of Aboriginal child sex abuse by the church. And this one was called Altered Boys, and also it was for the first time coined a cruciphallus. So it was quite an interesting reaction that the gallery had, given they would say to me that they couldn't possibly let somebody under the age of 16 see this work in uptown area of Flinders Lane in Melbourne, where I was showing. And I told them that they could quite, if your uptown person works with their offended child, that you could easily camouflage that by shielding the child's eyes, walking away and buying them an ice cream down the road there, or a fancy gelato. But the people that I'm talking about who have been abused live on the streets here in Redfern, and they're at the station there busking, and they're on the park bench getting kicked off by the police because they live every day with that memory of the abuse committed by these three-headed penises. So the launch of Generation 1, if you've seen that one online, I hope it didn't fool anybody into convincing Aboriginal population that you should work underground for Twiggy Forest and dig out your dreaming and spirituality in the case of creating 50,000 jobs for Indigenous people. I smelled a rat, I should say. I wanted to be the fly on the wall. I smelled a rat, and maybe a couple of flies as well, that night, which was launched at the Overseas Passenger Terminal in Sydney. And I thought I'd take the opportunity when performing on stage, this swank little number there, with the likes of Casey Donovan, Jessica Malboy, Jack Thompson, Christian Anu, Ernie Dingo, Melinda Schneider. So we're all on this stage there, and I'm playing Dig for that song. And I thought I'd take the opportunity at that time, because it's still a bit sensitive what happened on Palm Island there, So wear this t-shirt there, and big fan of making deadly t-shirts like yourself there. Free Lex Watton, who was the fellow who was imprisoned for supposedly inciting the Palm Island riots after Mullurinji Dumiji was kicked to death by Christopher Hurley. So it was a tremendous opportunity to take the international stage with a shirt, speaking up for the brother there, And there's the final one. That's BOM. That's the big exhibition that's currently in the Aboriginal Art Museum in Utrecht, which is incidentally the only institution in Northern Europe that specifies Australian Aboriginal art, and there's not even one here. So we had to go that far to have this political show. So please, if you get the opportunity out of anything I've said tonight, hit that website there, AAMU, and please have a look at that show, because it's probably the most poignant commentary on anti-colonialism that you'll see, that's come from a lad that looks like me and wears a shirt with Queen Elizabeth stamps on it. Thanks for having me here tonight.